Okay, hello everybody. You can see I'm not smiling broadly right now. I'm sorry I don't have any foundation, and we've had a warm summer in London, and basically that means that I'm a little tanned and the background here is not great. The sun has gone down, but I thought I better do this very quick video about Lucy Letby and white privilege. Now, if you know more, for those of you who know me, I've never ever played the race card. My sister and I, we've always gone to college, got a job, get a little place of our own. I don't live in the kind of house my parents have. So I've always gone on. If I don't get something, then I'll just do it. But the really why we think that this is white privilege, and I'm not the only person on YouTube that is talking about this. Now, for those of you who haven't heard about Lucy Letby, it's about the female nurse serial killer in the United Kingdom. She spent years killing babies, some of them sick babies in the incubator. It's a huge scandal, and the fallout is just happening. They've just given her a life term. She didn't come to the court to hear her sentence, and I think the law should change. Every criminal should come into court and hear their sentence and an impact statement if you want to make an impact statement. I'm not talking about what she did, that was terrible enough. She literally killed these babies systematically, and people raised concerns and said there is a huge number of babies, and a lot of people tried to blow the whistle, and they were all silenced. And the reason why they were all silenced is because this lady happened to be white English rules. Now, for me, I'm not really against um, I'm not really against English people or anything like that. I'm British. I'm proud to be British. I've got African blood, but I'm British and so on. I've never ever done that. But I think that basically This happened because she happened to be white. She couldn't possibly do anything like this. She's a typical English girl, a nice, lovely English rose. She wouldn't do anything like that. And people just kept complaining about her. They were silenced, they were threatened, they were made to apologize to her, and then she was moved. And then babies stopped dying. And when the baby stopped dying, okay, it was happening again where she was doing this over a couple of years. Now, for those of you who know about the NHS, that is a National Health Service, and basically, apparently, I heard it can be a very toxic place to work in. Is the world's biggest employee because one of my relatives is a project manager there. She just does her job or work from home and go home. There's a lot of politics that goes in there, and there's still racism in the NHS. Now, a lot of people were saying that if this happened to be a black nurse, almost immediately, because I already said I don't like to play the race card, but sometimes I do wonder that, black people are proven guilty, you know, um, before proven guilty. And they're only innocent when they're dead. When someone's murdered this woman, like today, this damaged, heavily deranged man killed two sisters in a park, and the police officers were taking selfies with the dead body. Okay, they were punished, they were probably sent to jail, but it's really mind-boggling. Do you know that I don't know. I mean, I personally don't have kids myself. I'm in the park today with my nephew. Okay, so I do, when I have like holiday time or career break, I do look after them during the holidays and things like that. But I just can't imagine, the parents must be seething. I don't know what it's like to carry a child for 9 months. And then it's not that okay, some of the children were already sick, but that's not the point. For 9 months, and all of a sudden, that's it. The babies are dead because of the sheer ineptitude and incompetence of the government. And I just cannot believe to think it's beggars belief. And this woman was allowed to kill these babies over and over and over. People sounded the alarms. Nobody did anything. And everybody just said, she's a lovely person. She rescues cats. She's this. What, what planet are we living on today? What planet are we living on today? What planet are we living on today? A nice, lovely person can kill their parents. If you piss them off, it's usually the quiet, nice ones. I mean, obviously, she has problems. And even after the whole thing, people are still saying, oh, she must have had a traumatic life. Her parents are like normal, middle class white people. You know, but that doesn't mean that you can't commit a crime. Majority of the heinous crimes are really committed by so-called quiet people. She's been through a difficult time. She used to do this, she used to do that. She's ever so lovely. You know, she's just been proven guilty, and people are still saying this. Now, I can't imagine. I never used to think about this. I knew there was something like white privilege, but it never stopped me from being a lawyer. I just decided not to practice. I didn't want to take another student loan for whatever. And I just thought, well, the civil service and other job would have served me right. But the thing is, I can't imagine. I am wondering. I think the white privilege did play a part in it. That's not to say that all Caucasian people are terrible and always given special treatment. But because of her background, I mean, even if she was white and she was from the East End, from a poor, they probably would have nabbed her. But because she was from an upper middle class family, this happened. I can't help thinking whether that played a part. And because of this, so many parents have lost their newborn babies. And do you know how hard it is? Do you know you did not die. These lovely children, these angels did not die through an abortion or an accident or serious health matters. Somebody actually killed them. And I just cannot imagine what the parents will be thinking, because the parents will be thinking if they just died from an infection, it would have been difficult enough, but it would have been, it would have been acceptable. And I do believe that's what happened. I do think that in the United Kingdom now we need to change. Now there's an inquiry. The fallout from it is so huge that they're calling for people's heads. The majority of the bosses that allowed this to happen, some of them live abroad, some of them are retired. They should drag them back. I think heads are going to roll, and I just think that, never judge a book by its color. Just never do that, and let's just see what's gonna happen. I'm sorry that I look a fright. It's been so warm in the UK. I don't have any foundation, but I just thought I should talk about this as quickly as possible. Condolences to the family, and I will continue to pray for those babies. Stay safe. Stay safe and be good. I always see a lot of people say things like, okay, I didn't have a difficult childhood. But eventually, my mother did say, before you go to college and after college, if you want to get government assistance, take it. Put your name in subsidized housing. 2 people in my family have private, or 3. I and another family, and I have subsidized housing, but it's in a nice area. So what I'm saying is that I could come from a middle class background. Do you understand that? But I've been in temporary accommodation in Wimbledon, and then, I was trying to do part by part rent. Yeah, I'm not a big executive. I've worked in the public and private sector. I'm trying to go back into the public sector right now. Right now, I'm spending my summer basically looking after my nephew. I don't have £1 million in my bank account. The problem is people don't want to slum it in. People want to use their past trauma, which we don't know if here, to try to help people. You could go for counseling. Do you know what? I lost my parents 2015 and 2016. And when COVID came and people couldn't bury their families, it just reminded me of that. We were able to, bury my parents. But that's not the point. The point is, it just brought memories. If I have to go counseling, I will go counseling. I may not be in the most glamorous job in the world, basically. If I had to take time off, if I have to take a career break, if I have to take flexible whatever, I would do that. If I have to eat a special meal, diet and exercise, and go for counseling, then I'll do that. But that is no excuse to hurt innocent people. I don't. And The idea that people were trying to compare it to that poor lady who was vulnerable. So she took abortion pills during lockdown. I thought that was horrifying. It was horrifying. How dare you? How dare you? How dare you? First of all, this was her body. It was her baby. Maybe the stuff wasn't planned. Maybe she was a victim of domestic violence. A lot of terrible things happened. I'm not justifying abortion, but at the same time, I don't think that I have a right, basically, to stop people from having a choice. You don't know the circumstances. She could have been ill. It could have been a terrible man in her life. She could have been, remember, terrible things happened in lockdown. Terrible things. I'm just very lucky that I was in my own place. And even though I was in my own place and I'm okay, I had to really reassess, my weight, my eating habits. And it's after lockdown that I started doing a little bit of fasting. So please don't give me all that. How dare you? How dare you compare the two? Lucy Letby is a maniac. She's a serial killer. She has no soul. I'm not one of this sort of baby making, pro-choice kind of people or pro-life. I'm just neutral. If the baby is already born, there is just no reason to hurt an innocent soul. I don't judge people, and people are still saying, she's a lovely person. She rescues cats. She's this, she's that. I just think that she needs to be in a straight jacket, okay? She needs to get counseling. Serious clinical counseling. I don't know whether she should be in prison forever, but there's something wrong with her. If you are feeling sorry for a serial killer who killed innocent babies, just because she's a female, because what happens in psychology and criminology is females, we take it out on innocent people or we take it out on ourselves. They don't go out there and start killing men and women out there, except for a few of them. This is how female serial killers operate. So sometimes you can never know. But please do not compare Lucy Letby to the one vulnerable woman who took abortion pills. Please, she didn't go out there killing other people's kids. You don't know, maybe she wasn't well, maybe she could have been a victim of domestic violence or rape. You don't know what it is. That's another conversation. So please, be safe and be good to one another. And as you can see, I'm not smiling. Goodbye.